Okay.
The lighting's a little bit weird.
Yeah, it's a little
Is it
weird, but it's all right. I'm kind of out of the.
But now we're both in the dark. And we're squished up on the couch.
Hello, this is Dan McDonald. I'm a life generator here on YouTube, and I'm using the Goaty voice.
The Goaty voice.
Which
Okay.
gets used around here quite often. But Sophia's
This is
warm.
a pretty informal interview. Look at the. This is almost silly.
Babe, this is a pretty informal YouTube channel.
Okay, that's true. That's very true.
Last time I didn't have a shirt on.
Okay, so my next question would be, since we were talking about me being how I feel the best on 100% raw foods, can you talk a little bit about the difference between a 100% raw living food diet and maybe like 80% raw, 20% cooked, or even 90% raw and 10% cooked? What is the difference for, like, in your opinion?
In my opinion, remind me to talk about the practical stuff if you can remember, but let's talk about the concept behind it in that when you commit to something and you're actually able to stay committed to that, that refines your character, and that also helps you to build, confidence in yourself. You know, like if you say, okay, I'm going 100% raw for a week, and then you make it 3 days, and then you eat a bunch of, pizza or something like that, you let yourself down and you let your confidence down. But if you say, I'm going raw for 7 days, and you make it 7 days, that builds your confidence. Well, I could go 3 weeks next time. You see what I mean? So you're building confidence. You're also building refinement of your character by committing to something. Like I committed to a 100% raw food diet 13 and a half years ago. But it took me 12 years to get there to where now I don't even think about cooked food. It doesn't even cross my radar.
So the reason why I was asking this question was because I was thinking about mucoid plaque, and I know it's weird that I always bring it up, but to me it is like the most interesting concept, and it's a reality, but a lot of people will say, oh, that's not real. Can you talk about mucoid plaque and why eating even the smallest amounts of cooked food can stop the mucoid plaque from being released from your body?
Right, because every time you eat, the degree of the stimulating properties of the food is to the degree to where the mucosa is going to excrete mucus to protect the delicate lining of the cells.
So that's mucoid plaque. It's that layer upon layer upon layer. Basically, your whole life you've been eating acid-forming foods,
right? Which
acid is burning, so it burns that delicate lining, right? And so you start building that. It becomes this like compacted rubbery hose, basically. Along the intestinal tract. Is that correct?
Yes, you should see some of the pictures of colons that I've seen over the years, and they are like this big in some places and this big in others, and distended and protracted and prolapsed and just
oh, gross.
Instead of a nice, firm, clean, pink, super clean on the inside without the mucoid plaque, without the biofilm that harbors a lot of the parasites and stuff.
Let's talk about that. Sorry to interrupt you, but so people might be like, okay, so I have mucoid plaque, but it's there to protect me from the acids. Why would I want to get rid of it? Why do we want to get rid of the mucoid plaque? Go ahead.
Again, it comes back to self-love, and it comes back to the question of, are you one of the few individuals that actually has realized that you have unlimited potential, and it's beautiful to surrender into that, to allow it to grow, to blossom, for you to become a shining and radiant light. There are fools, there are many fools, there are many mediocre, and then there are the few who have decided that, wow, I've been given this gift called life. There's this life inside of me. There's this blossoming of consciousness that always wants to grow and expand. Am I going to say yes to it or not? And if so, I was inspired when it said in the Gospel of Peace, fast and pray until the Lord of the house returns. Now, I have no religion. I had a lot of religion, but I had no spirituality. I had no understanding of anything like what that could have possibly meant, but I knew what that meant.
To you, yeah.
To me, because I knew that the Lord of the house, the keeper, the master of the house was clouded by drugs and food and beer and abuse and sadness and depression and all these. I was living in a dirty house. My house was dirty. And I knew that in order for the Lord of the house to return, in order for the king to come home, I wasn't going to have a filthy house, because the king is not going to come to the filthy house. When the king comes to your house...
What about the queen? When does the queen come in? This is my...
The queen is the body.
Oh.
The queen is creation.
Okay.
And the king is the light of creation.
Okay.
You see, the king is the principle.
I felt that, and I mean, it's true. When you go raw and you start to get really tapped in and intuitive, and you're more in touch with your body, you really begin to feel your expansion. And the light is one way of saying it. And there's so many different terms we can use, but it's a really beautiful feeling.
Illumination.
And you know, we talk to Lou a lot about. Well, Lou talks to us a lot about mucoid plaque and how, yeah, this is a physical rubber hose in your intestinal tract, but it represents, our body is always mirroring other what's the word I'm looking for?
Aspects?
Well, sure, aspects of maybe spiritual aspects, discord in your being. So he was saying, you won't get rid of the mucoid plaque until you're ready to let go of like old aspects of consciousness, and you're ready to commit to 100% loving yourself. Like, if you know that living foods represents life and represents expansion and health, it is when you commit to that your body will be ready to release this mucoid plaque, because it knows that you're committed. It knows that you're not going to burn it again with the acid foods. And the thing that I was hoping you would talk about was just the fact that in this like thick layer of mucus, it's the breeding ground for parasites, fungus, yeast. What's the other one?
Mold, bacteria, filth,
candida, basically.
Seething bog.
Oh.
A seething bog of just fermentation, like
that's
a
gross.
soup. That's like a soup pot of old vegetables that's been sitting on the stove for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's molding, and there's worms growing out of it and stuff, and you're like, whoa. And that's a lot, and that's where the breath comes from, like, and the stinky armpits, and the confusion, and the lack of clarity.
Especially if you're eating meat, because the meat is so hard to break down, and then it's traveling through this incredibly long intestinal tract, and remnants are getting stuck in these pockets, and so then you've got this putrefying.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. Putrefaction.
And so, yeah, detox is super important if you want to get rid of that. And then what about absorption? Why are we going to have cravings and trouble absorbing our food if we've got this lining in our intestinal tract?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, people are like, I can't afford to eat raw foods. Well, it's like, well, that just depends. You're eating a lot of food, and it's actually just going straight into the toilet. Yeah, it's filling your stomach. It's creating some sensational pleasures in your brain, but you're really not absorbing a whole lot of Oreo cookies or McDonald's or ice cream. You're not absorbing a lot of cellular nutrition that actually feeds the cells in your brain, feeds the nerves, coats the nerves, builds hair, teeth, skin, bones, and reproduces healthy cells. So as you relinquish the cooked food and stuff, you actually start to begin to absorb a lot more nutrition.
Right.
So like, let's say for example, it's 410. I've had 32 ounces of wheatgrass juice. You know, I'll have another salad or something, and how much is that?
It's amazing how much little food you could eat after you've really cleaned out your body, how much little raw foods you can eat and just have the most energy. And it's almost like you have to really eat something at night to ground yourself and come down and be able to sleep, because you're finally being fed, you're finally absorbing your food rather than just pooping it all out, right?
Right, and so you want to clean out the plaque, And
But it's not easy. It's not like something you can do overnight. Lou thinks that you still have mucoid plaque. And I certainly still have mucoid plaque because I still deal with cravings and, yeah, everything. So
I got work to do. There's no doubt about that. I'm in it to win it for the long haul. There's no doubt. No doubt about that.
Should we talk a little bit about enzymes in the raw foods and why?
Sure.
Or should we do that next time? Because we could go on and on about enzymes.
Let's do another video then.
All right.
We'll end this one now. That was an awesome thing.
I'm sorry I cramped you over to the side.
Well, now I'm in the dark. Maybe we'll switch the camera a bit and get. Oh, I'm in the light now.
Thank you, everyone.
Like it. We love you.